Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka, and we have beef to pick with you.
Beef to pick with you. Okay, we're obviously talking about the TV show limited series or limited. I'm not even sure if it's a limited series, but beef.
Actually, it was slated to be 3 seasons.
Wow. Okay. Well,
We
that's
don't know if it's going to make it, but it is intended to be 3 seasons long.
that's interesting. Well, I mean, it's now streaming on Netflix, starring Stephen Young and Ali Wong are the two leads, and created by Lee Sung Jin, among others. And yeah, gi- give us a little quick synopsis without any spoilers.
Okay, first of all, it is labeled as comedy drama. It should be more accurately dark comedy drama, psychological thriller, and at the end of the day, tragic.
Yes.
So we have Ali Wong playing Amy. She's a pretty successful, very powerful executive type person. But she's going through a lot of stuff in her personal life. Then we have Stephen Young's character, Danny Cho. He too is going through personal things in his life. He's a down and out contractor, trying to handle so many things, juggle so many things on his plate. His parents, his brother, his own life. He's in a dark place.
Yeah, he is.
They happen to meet in like the Bermuda Triangle of all places, which everybody can attest to, a Home Depot like parking lot.
Yeah. What they call Foster's? Foster's?
Foster's, which is it gets convoluted because it's like Ali Wong's baby and she's trying to sell it and she's going to sell for like $10 million. And she's in between. She wants to sell and be done with it. She does the company who she wants to sell it to wants to her to be on board for 5 more years. This is taking a toll in her personal life, her marriage, her daughter, her
Thing.
own life.
Yeah, so I didn't interject. The funny thing is that the company she's selling her plant business to is who is also is owned by geez, what's her name?
Jordan,
Yes.
Maria Bello.
That's Maria Bello's character, you know. So yeah.
And she's a trip. Look, this is the first thing everybody's got to realize when you watch the first few series, if it's not really average, is every character is a trip.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're colorful, they're crazy, they're eccentric, they're exotic. They You have to be open to that this is not normal. And I think that's one of the big catch. It's one of the draws. Is that you think this is so left of center. It is out there. But everybody can relate to the premise. And the premise here, if you had to pick, there's a million mental illness elements here. Anger management is first and foremost, or the inability to let go. So as it turns out, Stephen Young's character Danny is backing out of the parking lot and nearly backs into Amy, Ali Wong, who's driving her Mercedes, and they nearly collide. And everyone, I think, out there can attest that they've been there.
Well, some more than others, of course.
Some more than others, and we're not going to say more than that because my legal counsel told me to snip it. There's an anger management road rage component that sparks the whole downward spiral in what I consider to be a beautifully, masterfully written script. Because it's layers upon layers of a pretty simple plot line, but it gets bananas because all the little entanglements that every character has to contribute as they flush each other down the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, the whole premise is okay. One can say, okay, it's a road rage incident, and then that trickles down into these characters' lives, and each character has such a convoluted and such a rich, there you go, rich story behind them that it gets deep. It gets really deep. Funny.
When we say damage,
Yeah, well, we know for sure that one of the two is definitely damaged. No, I would say, yeah, they're you know what? They're fucked up. They're fucked up. They're fucked. They
And this is where we're leading us to the ultimate conversation in today's episode is that we're even going beyond who's at fault. The question of the day here is from what they end up doing to each other, which you really have to watch this show to see how, like you said, how intricate and how diabolic each one is. Who is the more evil of the two? We talk about the lesser of the evil. Today's question is who is the greater evil here?
yes.
And let's start with let's go with Dan. Okay, let's start because he's maybe the I'm not gonna color everybody's opinion. Let's go with Dan. Danny's parents owned a motel. It was screwed because of a cousin.
Are we gonna go deep into spoilers because are we gonna let people decide by themselves?
We have to say spoilers, man. There's no way we can put it out there without massive spoilers because we have to include the ending, which the last episode.
Incredible spoilers ahead. So if you have finished the episode, stay with us. If you haven't finished binging the series, binge it and come right back. We'll wait. That being said, carry on.
So Danny's parents owned a motel,
yes,
which the cousin screwed over because he was running some illegal stuff through the hotel. The parents are hardworking immigrants from Korea. They lost everything, moved back to Korea, left Danny and his brother here, Paul, and both of them are screwed up. Now, I don't want to be too tangent, but this is a largely Pan-Asian cast with a lot of Asian stereotypes and cultural truisms that run through. I can say this. So it actually is really good.
Kind of crazy. You have Young, who's Korean. Then you have Ali Wong's Chinese, who's married to a Japanese man. So you have a whole.
And let's not forget the cousin.
Yes.
The cousin who says, and this I gotta say was hysterical for me personally, who says when he got out of prison, if it weren't for the Filipinos,
the Filipinos are gonna kill me. Yeah,
he would have killed him. And then towards the end, the first spoiler, towards the end, he's gonna get killed because of the Filipinos. I love that. There's a lot of nuances and a lot of generalizations. There's a lot of things as immigrants that Asian Americans have to encounter, which is completely hit head on. There's perception. There's how you're raised. There's what's valuable. There's what's important. Like it is in many cultures, especially from Asia, to have attained status and material wealth, which drives Ali Wong's character, and also drives Steven Yeun's character, Danny, into being successful, the older brother, the winner, the guy who solves all the problems. Like, oh, I'm the firstborn. You drop this onto me. I will take care of everything. He's got all this pressure himself, and you want to give the first real bad mental illness here. Second spoiler. So Danny Cho's character has unsuccessfully tried to commit suicide.
Yes, more than once.
Many times.
Yeah.
That's why he was after the damn Fosters.
Yeah, because it obviously didn't work, and he was trying to find trying to build a better mousetrap in order to kill himself. Which, we make light of it now, but obviously within the framework of the story and the show, it's meant to be somewhat darkly comedic. And
very darkly comedic. He takes upon himself the savior mentality.
Yes.
Right? He's supposed to save everybody. But that's such an unweighted, unbalanced, and a wrong way to go because you're only dooming yourself to failure because you cannot save everybody's problems. But along the way, as it unfolds massively from episode to episode, he's fucked up himself. he screwed over his brother's life because he
Well,
never wanted to lose him. He never wanted to be alone.
we come to find out that his brother, his younger brother, looked up to him, and in a way, his brother had what's the word I'm looking for? He had a better trajectory than Danny had, and Danny, being the older brother, had to
Manipulate.
had to well, he did manipulate, Paul's life.
Sure.
And unfortunately, he also indirectly caused their parents to lose everything. So he feels even worse and compelled to do all these things, So already he has, not to mention he had a girlfriend that left him, who we come to find out is in the same church that, he ends up going to later on, which
And
that's
good
kind of
good
fun.
for Danny because it's been overheard that nobody has done her right since him
Yeah.
and the present day husband. I mean, the movie for the series from beginning to end is entertainingly awkward.
Oh, it's like every episode has its individual, like, plan, its individual idea. It's very artistic also, if you guys are into that stuff. It's very
Camera angles are so key, and how people are introduced. Yes, from a filming point of view, I think it's the opposite of bland. It is very clever, and the camera angles and how the director. I don't know if it's the same director. I know it was the first director was the Japanese director. And the director does a great job to not always just show you everything. Leads you very well.
Hikari, she directed 3. Lee Sung Jin directed 1, and Jake Schreier directed the other 6. So obviously, the more visual. I mean, I'm just assuming here the more visual, the most ones Hikari directed, and while the other ones were what they were. So
All right, so to finish our defense or lack of defense for Danny's character, I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fire spoilers. So he throws away the college applications for his brother.
yep,
He poorly wires the house for his parents that caught on fire.
yep.
He tries to frame so many people for things that he didn't do. He'll lie, steal, cheat because he thinks he justifies everything. He tries to scam the church out of money so that he can solve his own money problems. Yep. He ends up scamming his own cousin who scammed him in the beginning to get money to buy the house. Where do we stop here? There's the ridiculous pettiness. I think it's a quote I've seen in either Wikipedia that quoted Rotten Tomatoes that this is what do they call it? Diabolical in a pathos in pettiness. And the pettiness gets them into so much trouble. So there's more that he does. I'm not going to kill the entire spoiler world for you, but that's
he almost gave away all the plot points within the series just now.
Well, okay, so now let's turn our attention to Allie. Do you want to take Allie? Do you want to start off with Amy?
How can Ali Wong, who's hilarious in this, usually is hilarious. She is a control freak who has worked so hard to build her family, to build a life for herself, to have people that care about her, and to build a loving, quote unquote, marriage that she did not see, when she was younger. She saw her father, well, again, spoilers abound. So saw her father cheat on her mother, and her mother take it all. And this really affected her in a way that ruined all her interpersonal relationships up, throughout her childhood and into her adulthood. And she gets panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and the only thing that kind of calms her down, besides, engaging in road rage, is how can I say this? Playing around with a gun. Okay.
Loving the gun.
There you go. Loving the gun. Okay. Literally loving the gun. And she has a husband who comes from money, but he's a complete lovable loser. You know, probably I'd say
You gotta love him though.
besides Paul, probably the nicest character or the most good natured character in the whole series. No, he probably is
He's like a gentle giant. He's like not all, but a lot of artistic artists are. He's sensitive on the sensitive spectrum, but he's too sensitive. He cares so much about other people. You get the feeling Amy wishes he grew up hair every now and then and becomes a little bit more of a caveman man
yes.
to take charge and
Man's
to
on top of that, he's not that great of an artist anyway.
he's living off his father's success and reputation, and he never can live up to it. So every character has some deep issues. I mean, deep issues, but you feel for him. I feel for him because he's always trying to do right, and he's always too forgiving, and to the point that if he were my friend, there's a time I would grab him by the nuts too and say, "Is there anything down there?"
Yeah, just
Yeah. Now, okay, so Amy also, in my opinion, is classic perfectionist syndrome.
Okay.
She has such expectations that also she subconsciously will put people up to the same statutes, the same standards, and gets frustrated because nobody does. Nobody gets to, then it eats her soul that the woman she has to sell her business to treats her like shit.
Well, yeah.
So from a perfectionist syndrome, also a little bit of a superiority complex, a lot, that burns her. She's got this rage that this all culminates to a rage inside of her that comes out in the parking lot like this.
Well, some might say that the rage, and I mean, a lot of people who are in therapy or weren't in therapy know this.
Hey,
our parents screw us up, and we screw up our kids, and that's a fact. And the rage, it's like the cycle, the circle of life, and the rage that Amy feels is a direct result of her child and mom and dad. Which you can also say the same thing is going on with Danny, because of have all of this traditional stuff and then your culture and who you are or who you're supposed to be. Meanwhile, you're also Americanized. And this is what you can do and what you should be doing for yourself. Some people might say it's selfish. People might say, "Oh, you just living your life." Unfortunately, they don't work well together, and therefore the anger comes when there's conflict and it doesn't mesh, and that's the problem with Danny, and Amy, which is, but she takes things to the extreme that I think that she takes the cake. She's pulls no punches and she will go all out. Like, I don't think there's still, how can I put this? There's still, I guess maybe it's a goodness or there's still something behind the wall. There's something behind in Danny still. There's some reservation still. There's some things he will not do. While
yes, well, Amy will. Well, okay, so let me pose this question to start on the main question here. Do you consider both people inherently good? Maybe good intentions, and just the way they get to their end goal is fucked up? Or are they good and bad?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I don't think Amy's a bad person, but I think that her rage is so out of control at times that it just takes over everything. And we don't know,
Blinded.
yeah, and we don't know who the real Amy is until that moment.
To the actually, the last episode, again, I won't spoil too much. The last episode, I think, was fantastic in the sense that through the life or death situation they're in, all cards were on the table. Not to mention, drug induced, poison induced, whatever you call it, all on the table. It's the first time both people lay bare their whole souls as is,
Right.
with all the angst, the issues, the drama, the regrets, the hate, everything. It took everything until almost dying to get to that point, and also to each other because they're very similar.
Yes.
Some big differences, but out of all the cast in this entire series, they're the most similar, which is why they were naturally attracted to butt heads.
Yeah. I mean, I also appreciate how it could have gone Hollywood and stay true to not going that way, you know? Like you could have easily, and this is hard without spoiling anything. It's very easy to just, conflict, happy ending, you know, resolution, happy end. And this is not,
Is that happy?
it's not happy, but it's not, you know, you
It's
know.
not disaster. Well,
But
let me put it. No. You're right.
I saw it in a way that it was beginning to end. Now you're telling me, oh, I've also read it that he has ideas for 3 seasons if Netflix picks it up. I
Let me
think
ask you: if it ended the way it ended,
the way it ended
yeah, I'd be okay if this is it.
because I'll be
If we
afraid.
didn't go any further,
I'll be afraid that you Hollywoodize it, and I mean, where can you go after this? I'm sorry, no.
well, I mean, all right, well, we'll get to that. Let's backtrack to the original question of the episode, which you already answered, and I agree with you. Not by far at all. Amy has seemingly no limitation
Yes,
to what she would do acting upon her anger, where Danny is almost anchored by a guilt, where he almost would rather kill himself than to kill others,
yeah.
where Amy would just kill everyone.
How about this? What if, and I'm going to use some harsh language here. What if Danny, devil's advocate here, what if Danny is too much of a pussy to really do what needs to be done? And ergo, really would be more like Amy, but because of his own limitations, he's holding himself back. You know what I mean?
He is afraid to go all the way.
Exactly. Because he's done some pretty messed up things. Now, I mean,
and they're happy. You're
oh,
actually not happy, but they benefit from the fact that he didn't kill anyone. Although many things he did could have gone sideways.
1,000%.
Where innocent people could have died, or guilty people could have died. You name it. Amy from like episode 1 had a gun to her cell phone.
Oh yeah. Well, she has no she has no filter. She's already there. That is her
No,
that is her her way out. That is her the way she feels. That is
but even being unhappy in her marriage, unhappy with the sale situation, is she put her marriage on the line with little resistance. Maybe the third time, and it was like, okay, let's go all the way, balls to the wall.
she was more about the marriage than the actual love. Okay. That's
Yes,
that's not getting
the status of it all, the ideal family um life that she was trying to validate and have versus where her child was. I get that. So I guess we can take a vote right now. It's unanimous. Amy's the evil of the two,
yes.
but let that not sway you guys. If you guys think differently, let us know. It's very possible Danny could turn a corner and become more evil. But as it stands right now, it's a unanimous decision. The title goes to Amy
Yeah.
of More Evil.
Who
For the
had
rest of the show, enjoy the characters, man. I mean, the cousin is out of his mind.
a cousin is
Oh,
great.
I mean, he's a criminal to the core.
He's great. And I'm telling you, you guys will not expect what's coming. You think it's gonna zig, it zags. You think it's gonna I mean, it's a dramedy for it's as Rock mentioned before, a dark dramedy. Yeah, something like that.
There's always a good surprise left hook in every episode where you may have seen it coming, but the way it plays out, you leave it just shaking your head like, holy shit, what did I just watch? What happened here?
Yeah.
And Paul is so Americanized. He is a problem in the sense that he does not fit in. He's about the money. He's about the attention, about the likes, about the internet thing, about being good looks, about getting the girl, about talking to this. Not even thinking about his future. He is like, man, I'm going to insult a lot of people. He is like, was it Gen Z? No. He is the present generation personified in a sense. Where, yeah, living day to day without a plan, without a care of the world, and he almost just goes around life not knowing that he is screwing a lot of people over.
Alpha was a Gen Alpha.
You know what I mean? Okay, let's just say today's 20s.
Well, how old do you think he is?
I think it's his 20s in the show because you're talking just only a few years back he threw the college application.
Yeah, so that's it's a Gen Z, yes, Gen Z.
But I mean, he's stuck on his phone. He's stuck on a pretend world, but not realizing until later, until the worst spots, that yeah, he needs money, he needs a job, he needs to pay for it. He appreciates what his brother has maybe done for him. He does what everybody has done for him. His family's like, I mean, he's kind of like rudderless.
A rudderless oar.
Yes, and his brother is trying to look out for him, but not, not always for his best interest. It's so messed up. It is so messed up. I mean, it takes a good deal of clever writing to make sure that there's a minimum amount of plot holes. And I really can't find too many glaring ones. But it's outrageous what some of these people do to each other. I really dig the last two episodes. It's bananas.
Let's go ahead. We know. I mean, we all but are quoting verbatim the show. So just watch it. Obviously, we gave a review, and obviously we both enjoyed it a lot. I think I gave it an 8 on my quickie review. And
I agree. It's an 8. 8 point something.
So let us know down in the comments and via email, via social media, whatever. Let us know what do you guys think and who is maybe the more evil, who's right, who has the bigger beef. How about that?
Who's got the bigger beef? I like that. All right, guys. Yeah, let us know. Remember to think twice now to flick somebody off. Remember that road rage, just breathe, let it go. Breathe and let it go. And to remember, always, always save the whales.
care, guys.